All right. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Dad and Roll podcast. Got my boy Ali here with me. Ali, how you doing, man?
That was up. I'm doing well. Just trying to keep track of all these transactions and trades, rumors, and all that with the NBA offseason. It was a little like this, and then boom, right? That Giannis one, and then the draft, and then Jaylen Brown and Celtics, and then the Lamelo one, which I think was were there
That caught
rumors?
me by surprise.
There was rumors, but like right before it broke, right? Like
Yeah,
right.
like the night before, Sean's talking about the Hornets are aggressively talking Lamelo Ball trades. I was like, well, where'd that come from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Because for the longest, it was like you said, it was just quiet, and then all of a sudden, it's just boom, 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 and not only that, but just like stuff that we weren't expecting, and also like all the signings, like everybody's getting a whole lot of money. We're not even going to get to that today, but like a lot of guards are getting all their money.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to them and their agents, and good luck to those teams. But
Yeah.
speaking of good luck,
Hold on, just on the title, the Dad and Roll podcast. My son just came in, so we'll see if he. Oh, you gonna say what's up, or you gonna leave? Okay, bye. Okay, you gonna sit there and listen? Okay, he gonna sit there.
we got a live studio audience.
He might give his input. So
Yeah, we got to make sure we're talking that real because if we
yeah,
don't, he's gonna come in here and be like, "Yo, what you talking about?"
exactly.
Well, speaking of the new homies in the room, Giannis is now a part of the Miami Heat. This has been a long time coming. I just actually finished reading an article that Ramona Shelbourne and I don't want to forget his name, but I did forget his name. Jamal Collier. There we go. They just wrote a really long article, like a really good article about all the things that led up to Giannis getting traded. And man, it was a long time coming. A lot of mistakes that the Milwaukee Bucks ended up making, which kind of torpedoed their chances of keeping Giannis. And I mean, we all saw it coming. The writing was on the wall. It was kind of awkward, a little ugly towards the end, but I think both sides are probably, for the most part, just happy with this being done. For the most part, it's still got to get approved by the league, but for the most part, this is finally done. The Miami Heat have been trying to get Giannis for a long time, so yeah. What are your initial thoughts on the trade?
Uh, for like, I think we read the same ESPN article, but it's kind. I think they put it in. They wrapped it up well, at least the one I read, and it said like who are the winners of the trades, and they put but or who won the trade, the Bucks, and then they said who's the loser of the trade, and it said Bucks, and I kind of feel the way about that, like they should have traded him before, they should have traded him last year. They'd be in a way different spot if they did, well not yeah they'd be in a way different spot, right? They would have tanked last year, all that and just would have had a higher draft pick this year. Who knows what they would have done with their assets? And I think they would have got a lot more from him. At the same time, them waiting an extra year, like you said, all the stuff that's happened with it. How I don't know if it ever became dysfunctional, and I give the organization a lot of credit for that. I think Giannis tried to take it that way. Some or I don't know. We talked last time. I think Giannis become a little overrated. I think he's still a top five guy in the league, so it's hard to call him overrated. But I don't think he should be called the best player in the league anymore, or even argued about that. Uh, so and just the way he handled it. But when you're a top five guy in the league, you have that ability to do so, right? Like that's the perks. Um, but I think the organization never let it get too dysfunctional. And then they were still able to make a trade and get a decent return. I'm a big Tyler Hero guy, actually. I think he's a really good basketball player. Now, I know as soon as Hero went to the Bucks, everyone was like, he's going to get traded, right? Like, he doesn't fit this new rebuilding thing and all that. And yeah, he's not going to be your 1A star, all that stuff. So, but stop. But I think Hero is a good basketball player. I think Jaime Jaquez is a good basketball player. I think Khalil Ware is a good basketball player. And obviously, they got a good amount of picks and all that. So, how ESPN wrote it up, that's my initial reaction. Like, I think the Bucks waited a little too long. Should have pulled the trigger last year or this year. Maybe they get Jaylen Brown, right? That's another thing they can't win. Maybe they get some, which obviously, even though I like Hero, Jaylen Brown is a lot better. Even if they didn't get anything else with it, Jaylen Brown's better. But at the same time, I give them credit for still getting it done and getting a decent return from it. And then the last thing I'll say on the Heat side, it makes sense to me because they're trying to win. That's what the Heat do. They're not going to tank Pat Riley, Spoelstra. They've been a playing team. So they finally went into it, and then getting on Giannis with Spoelstra. Like Spoelstra with a top 5 player in the league, he's just gonna find a way. But the big question is what everyone's obviously asking about, and not like I've heard a lot of people be like, "Well, this doesn't even make them the best team in the East," and I agree because. Well, where does the perimeter scoring come from, right? Everyone's talking about where does the perimeter shooting come from, and then like Wiggins, Giannis, Adebayo. Did they draft Nate Ament? I don't know if you. The draft always confuses me with all the trades and all that stuff.
Yeah, I believe the rights to Nate Ament end up going to the Bucks.
Oh, okay. So the Bucks, but those you got 3 guys right there that are the same player. Like Wiggins isn't the same, but how he scores, what he's best at, right, is getting to the paint, mid-range game, getting to the line, right. So that just becomes the big thing. But I think it was yeah. I still think the Heat are going to be a top 3 team in the East. I seen some people say 4 or 5 or 6. I don't see that. Like I think they'll swarm guys on defense. And in the regular season, Giannis, Adebayo, and again, whoever they put around them, as long as they stay healthy, they're going to win enough games.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean,
hold on, Michael. Let me get this kid settled in 30 seconds, and then
yeah, no worries, no worries. All right, back here on the Dad and Roll podcast. So yeah, as you just put it, yeah, I think first things first. This Heat team has to be the best defense in the league, if not top 3, because otherwise, like we kind of pointed out, the perimeter scoring it is a major concern. Spoelstra, I mean, Spoelstra's what top 3 coach you would want to figure this out. Maybe him, Ty Lue, maybe you can throw in another one in there, but I also have faith in Spoelstra to figure this out because, I mean, for one, just the talent. Like who's scoring? Who's scoring on this team? Davion Mitchell might be the weakest defender of the group, and he's no slouch. His nickname is Off Night. Like he's no slouch at all. So I think.
So let me.
Sure.
So Davion, I think, proved himself as a starter in the league last year.
For sure.
I don't know if he's a starter on a championship level team, but I thought he his improvement offensively, and then like you said, defensively, he's always been that guy. Who's the shooting guard? Like Norman Powell was there, but
he's kind of there.
Okay, so they're gonna move Powell.
Not move him. He's an unrestricted free agent, and from what I recall, from Bobby Marks, he had mentioned that they have $18 million left in cap space, and I think Norman Powell is going to go for more than that, unless he's willing to take a discount. If he really loved Miami that much, I think he's worth a lot more than that. So, to me, unless they have another move to make to open up a little bit of cap space, I don't know that they end up bringing back Norman Powell. They'll probably have to bring back. They'll have to bring in someone a little cheaper, maybe Luke Kennard or like a. Who else is there? Just like preferably a shooter. Doesn't even necessarily have to be the best defender. I mean, all those other guys can more than make up for it. Go ahead.
Duncan Robinson under contract with the Pistons still?
Is he? I would have to double check that. Yeah, I'll double check that. They may be looking to the Pistons have their own thing going on because they're also looking to clear up cap space for a star. So they were going hard for Austin Reeves, which is part of the reason why we're not going to get into this, but Austin Reeves ended up signing for a lot.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason. So yeah, I would have to double check that, but yeah, for sure, just a shooter in that spot, a knockdown shooter, and even then, it's not going to fix all the spacing issues, but I mean, at least one person that the defense has to worry about shooting from deep, because otherwise, it's just like Andrew Wiggins is in. He's a streaky, okay shooter. He's not going to be like a. He's not a guy that is like a like 5 alarm fire if he's open from behind the arc. So no, yeah, for sure. At the very least, the Heat got better, and whether or not like you can argue about if they're going to be, I don't know, top three, top five, whatever. For sure, they got better because last we checked, they were losing in the play-in. And granted, Bam got hurt in that game against the Hornets, but they were losing in the play-in, and they were in the play-in in the first place. And
The last what 4 years now or something like that.
the last for however many seasons, so in the past couple of seasons, the East playing has been the Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat Invitational. So
They've been in there a couple times too. Is the 10th? Like they've been in there most of them for the 10th seed.
for
Uh,
sure,
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, they get better. I think this has been a thing for the Heat for a while, right? Like
yeah,
obviously because of Pat Riley, but they got LeBron. Obviously, they got LeBron, bossed that whole thing. Then that thing ran its course, and then the next one was what Jimmy Butler. Then that thing ran its course, and it's like, well, what is Miami's gonna do? All these are they gonna go get Dame? Right? Are they like you said, Giannis just came up, all of these names, right? Miami is just always going to be that. And then Pat Riley standing firm. Someone said this, and I like I said, I think that it made sense for the Heat to do it. They're not going to be ever a rebuilding team, at least with this structure, and they shouldn't be with Pat Riley as a GM.
not at all. Yeah,
Bolster as the head coach, and they do have a talent on their team. Adebayo, even Hero, Wiggins, like they've been the 8th seed these last 4 years, but the Miami has never been a team that you just sit there and go, oh, they got no shot, or we're just gonna roll them tonight, right? That's just not who the Heat have been, just their culture. But I was just listening to the radio, and he was like, this is just Pat Riley letting everybody know he's still Pat Riley. Like, yeah, there was some ego to it. And I agree in somewhat because that he could have done this the last 2 years, or the last 3 years, right? Like, but like they could have pulled the trigger. They've had Hero, they've had the assets, they've had, right? And Hero 2, 3 years ago was probably a bigger piece now, right? Like, and they held firm and stayed, and then it was almost like Riley going, okay, no, I can still do what I do and all that.
actually, to your point, in his last interview of the season, like one of those like last like end of season press availabilities, he was pretty defiant. He was like, "We're not going to tank. We're good enough. We have the players. We're going to make moves, and we're going to get better."
Yeah.
And I mean, also considering his age, there's no way, like you mentioned, there's no way Pat Riley would allow a tank in in the Miami Heat organization.
And
He
now
was,
really you
yeah.
can't tank now too, right? Like you can, but they flatten the odds, correct?
So yeah, now if you're in, I believe it's the bottom three, your odds are not the best odds to get the top pick of the
Right.
draft.
Yeah.
Now it's I think it's 4, 5, 6 that have the best odds
Yeah.
to get the top pick. So it's a very interesting like mathematical case. But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I'm really happy that the well, no, I'm not like I'm a Bucks fan, but that the Bucks didn't trade Hero, and they still can, and there's a chance. But on draft night, and I think it's because of the flattened odds, right? And I think it's to show just the rules already working. Because I think, like I said, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Hero would have been fucking traded like that. Just fully rebuild. We're gonna give ourselves the best chance to get the top pick. And I think Hero's a good guy to have. And they still might trade him, but I let him go. Like I hear people saying the Bucks are the worst team in the league now, or top 5 in the league. And okay, I could see that happen. Like I could see them, ending up not winning a lot of games and however it goes. But as soon as it happened, text, I think the first thing I said is the Bucks are gonna make the playoffs, and that's me a little bit, because I feel Giannis is a little overrated, like I said. So maybe just sitting there and going, well, I want the Bucks to do good now with Giannis leaving, type of thing, right? Since I think he's overrated, I still think he's top 5 guy in the league, but a little overrated. Uh, but I like Tyler Hero is good. Like I said, Jaime Hawkins, Khalil Ware, Miles Turner. It was a really bad year for him last year, but it was a really weird year for that organization, right? Like I sit there and say, like I think the Bucks didn't let it get into this crazy chaos, like or dysfunction, but it was somewhat right. It wasn't a good year. It wasn't a smooth year. That was his first, being on a new team, all that stuff. Usually, guys have struggles, right? It's almost natural for a guy to come in, knockdown shooter, gets to a new place, and he can't hit nothing in his first 3 games, stuff like that. But Miles Turner is obviously a starter in this league. Was the second best player, arguably the second best player on the team that was in the game sevens to win the finals, right? So Turner's a legit guy in the league. So I think they got guys on their roster. Kuzma still with the Bucks? Is he under contract or is he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of contracts, Duncan Robinson in the second year of a 3-year, $48 million contract from earlier. But yeah.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, that's tough.
Because the Pistons don't want, or don't not they don't want to, but they need to upgrade there, and that's the whole topic. But yeah, they need to upgrade there. So I really wonder because the Heat. I guess if we want to wrap up this, the Heat can't like they have to make a couple more moves, right? And I don't know how they do it, but I guess Riley going to work and showing he's still the man. Okay, so Presti is taking him over. Right, Stevens is kind of taking him over.
Oh yeah.
Danny Ainge in Utah, right, has been making a lot of moves. So maybe Riley's kind of like that ego, like, no, and let's see what Riley can do, what he can make happen, because I think they're a top 3 team in the East, but to be a real championship contending team, yeah, they got it. They got to find some. They got to make a couple more moves and make some. I would say magic happen because what's their like? Who they're not going to trade Band. Wiggins has some, I guess, but I don't see. Yeah, how you gonna? I think you want to keep Wiggins, right? Like you want to keep Wiggins. He fits the roster, playing the 3. He can shoot some, and just that if you're gonna go all in on athleticism and that defense, you might as well, right? Wiggins gives you a lot of that. And so, but they're gonna have to, figure out some moves because who are their bench guys right now? If Powell is unrestricted,
It's a very thin bench. I know they still have Nikola Jovic, who was not included in that trade, and that kind of tells you a little bit that he was not included in that trade. They also have let's see, Drew Smith, who is a bit of a a little bit of a league pass all-star, we'll call it, and
hey, he played for him last year.
yeah, he played. He was one of those dudes where, like, the first time I saw him, I was literally like, "Yo, who is this guy?" But he actually came in and he's a Heat guy. Like, this guy, he comes in, he defends, he makes the right play, he doesn't try to do too much. Like, I was pretty impressed with him for being a dude who, just looking at him, I've never seen him before, and I wasn't sure what he was going to be doing. I was call me impressed. Also, they still have Pella Larson, who I believe he's going into his second year out of Arizona.
He played a lot for him last year.
He did. Yeah, he played as. If you get minutes for Eric Spoelstra, like, that means you're solid. For the most part, like, that means you're at least solid. So no, yeah, it's definitely still thin. Go ahead.
You brought up the Adebayo getting hurt, but that Hornets game, bro. The Hornets hit like insane for like the 4 threes to just get the game to overtime, and then Davion Mitchell went to the rim to win it. But That was like the three that Kobe White hit was insane.
Ridiculous. Oh,
Yeah,
I was jumping off my couch when I saw that. That was crazy.
the Heat, and I really think the Heat beat the Magic in that next game. Because the Magic had that first series they pushed Detroit to 7, but the regular season, that first game the Magic had against the Sixers in the play-in, they weren't the same team that they were in the playoffs. You get what I'm saying? Like when they made it, they kind
Yeah.
of flipped. So I think that Heat and Spoelstra, I just think you, it's if you really follow basketball or get into it like that, it's really hard not to like Spoelstra as a coach, or it's really hard not to believe in what he's going to do, what he's going to get out of his guys. And like I sit there and go, if the Hornets don't hit those crazy threes, they beat the Magic, and then I mean Detroit was good, so I don't know if they pushed Detroit to 7, but maybe it was better that they lost the play. Maybe it was Riley being a little stubborn and hard headed, and standing pat, and kind of it was needed for them to finally lose that and not go get in the playoffs at all, and for them to make that trade.
Yeah. On top of that, for one, the Magic caught the Sixers at a bad time because that was probably the best 2 week stretch that the Sixers had, maybe all season,
Mm-hmm.
going into the end of the season, into the postseason. And then on top of that, if you looked at the Magic from the playing game against the Sixers versus the game against the Hornets, they look like they look like the Monstars against the Hornets. Everybody was blocking shots. Everybody was hitting all their shots. Like it was a completely different team.
But
But
you're 100% right. But to me, that was more playing the Hornets, and what we'll talk
that's what I
about.
thought.
Not like the Hornets. It was a great year for them, right? Like it was a really good year for
Definitely.
them.
Yeah.
But the Hornet, and we'll talk about it more with the Lamelo thing. But the Hornets, they weren't ready to go to like they should have lost to the Heat.
Yeah.
And then the Magic's experience. I just saw that coming. I think the Hornets were even favorites on the road in that game, and I get why because they that like you say
They
that
were
last
so hot going down the stretch. Yeah.
yeah they look like I mean you sit there they're the better team than the Magic. They Heat, but they shouldn't have beat the Heat too. Like they just hit crazy threes, and then if like you said Bam don't get hurt too, it definitely probably wouldn't even been in place for them to be able to have a chance to tie it up. But yeah, overall, man, I think good for the Heat, good for the Bucks, and we'll see. Like in the here, Giannis, if he stays healthy and you want to say or people want to say he's a top 3 guy, well, you better go. You got to go to the conference final. Like you don't trade for Giannis and be in a win now mode, and because he's older too, right? Like he's not a young cat now. His health, last year he shut it down probably because of the season, right? Maybe I don't know. I don't think he had really like a season-ending injury, right? It was more so he was hurt on and off, and then just shutting it down because this was coming.
I
One
tell you what, if he's on the Heat, he's playing.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's I want to see what this, is Giannis still a top 3 guy in the league? Because if you are, then conference final is, that's where you're gonna go. It's a type of thing. Even with this roster how it is now, that's just what I
Yeah.
believe. If you are a top 3 guy,
Yeah,
you
for sure.
you you fill in those weaknesses yourself. You
Yeah.
get one. You fill in those weaknesses yourself, especially because you have a great culture behind you. You have a great coach, and again, like we're talking about, like Adebayo is still a really good basketball player, right? Wiggins is still good. Davion Mitchell is still good. They're gonna do some moves in the off. They're gonna find some guys with some more competent guys around them. Uh, so that I guess I see it as a good move for both sides, but yeah, it's the Heat are in win now mode. His age, everything about that team, they're not like they just gave up their young guys. They just gave up their draft pick. So you got to go get to the conference finals at least and put yourself in a chance to try to get to a title run. So so I guess let's end it like this, Michael. Are the Heat? Or do you think the Heat are going to contend for a championship next
For a championship, no.
year?
For the conference finals, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them beating the Knicks, and no matter what form the Celtics are in, I don't see them beating the Celtics as well. Now, granted, the Celtics beat themselves a lot. One can argue the Celtics beat themselves in pretty much every time they flamed out of the playoffs ever since they won the championship. You could argue that the Celtics have beat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think?
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just say yeah to be a little different, and not just to be a little different, but I guess sitting there and going like they went to the finals with Butler, and like
And that was a really good Jimmy Butler every time though.
yeah, but like Giannis has to be. If Giannis plays his A game, he's better than that Jimmy Butler could ever be.
Yeah,
Right? I'm
sure.
saying he's overrated, but Giannis is, NBA championship, 2-time MVP. Like gonna go down as probably a top 50 guy, right? Like this is what he's already done in the league. So if Giannis plays his A game, and I think just Spoelstra, I I think this Heat team can find a way, and especially if they're it's probably better that this trade happened for them. People are going, well, yeah, they got better. They're good. Giannis is on the Heat, but they'll be a top 4 team. They'll be a top 5. That's probably better for them, and to go into the season with probably their expectations of their own they have, but not as much outside pressure, which shouldn't matter, but naturally matters. So I'm gonna sit there and say, yeah, I'm gonna say they find a way to get it done. I think there's very few coaches, like even me being a high school coach and all that, and coaching obviously is very important, and when you get to that level, even more important. But it's still Jimmy and Joe. Sports is always going to be like players, but Spoelstra to me, man, is one of those guys that can affect it at that level because he's shown it. Like he's shown it over and over again. So I'm gonna say yes.
Oh yeah, at the very least, they have a puncher's chance with the talent that they have.
Way to put
At
it.
the very least, I for sure would give them at least a puncher's chance. But now, so the Bucks were choosing between two different trade options, either the package that they ended up getting from the Miami Heat, or what was reported is Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
So now, pretty much ever since the end of the season, I don't know how to put it other than this, but it seems like we've low-key been seeing a Jaylen Brown crash out, like a prolonged crash out. He, at the end of the season, when they lost in Game 7 in the first round against the Sixers, he comes out and says, "This has been my favorite season, even better than the year we won a championship." And then on top of that, he's going out and picking fights with Stephen A. Smith. He's saying F Stephen A, Stephen B, Stephen C, and he's saying ESPN is, I believe he said, an unethical organization. It's been it's been truly baffling. And personally, even as a Laker fan, I love two-way wings who can defend and score. Jaylen Brown has been one of my favorite players.
Was Jaylen Brown the one with the paint
He
on?
was. He was. He was leaving skid marks on all the other all the other players. But no, yeah, it's been quite interesting. So yeah, I like Jaylen Brown as a player, and for all that I've been hearing about how smart Jaylen Brown is, and going and giving talks at Harvard, and being in a master's program class as a freshman at Berkeley, for all that I've heard about Jaylen Brown, I'm trying to bridge that with him not understanding how the media is gonna take him saying this is his favorite season. I'm trying to figure out why he's picking fights with Stephen A so aggressively compared to, like, he's sat down and had an interview and it seemed pretty cordial with Stephen A. I believe it was like a season ago or 2 seasons ago. To me, it seems like one of two things is happening. One, he truly believes all this and is just going out and saying all of it and not caring the consequences, or he's trying to agitate to get out of Boston after being in all these trade talks and kind of seeing the writing on the wall. Maybe now he wants to be his own guy on his own team. But no, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, everything you said, like he's first Jaylen Brown's a really good basketball player.
He's very
But
good. Yeah.
he's obviously a very he's from the South. Then he went to UC
Atlanta
Berkeley.
kid. Yep.
Yeah, went to UC Berkeley. Like you said, like just off the bat and how he carried himself and all this, like he had this or he is, you can't just say he's a very educated dude, he's very strong, but sometimes them cats that are a little like he's gone into weirdo territory,
Yeah.
and I think he's tried to make it a little bit too, I mean, just the hairline thing like that, and then you get called out about it and people are just making fun of you. Like, what do you think? Like, you don't think because then him and KD go back and forth, or was that fake?
I did. Maybe it did. I did not see it
Yeah,
personally.
like that type of. But like you, it seemed like he got very defensive about that, or tried to lie about that, and he's just and just the whole how he carries himself now. Like you're saying, he has not helped ease tensions in the Celtics, right? In this whole thing with Jalen you know, and Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, and then a couple years back they win the championship, and that's obviously what eases it, right? Like they couldn't beat Braun they couldn't get over the hump. Braun was in the East, but they were so young. But people, you naturally start going, does one of them have to go? You got to trade one of them, and then Brad Stevens and that whole organization worked the master class, and they just kept bolstering up the roster with them staying intact, right? Like being able, Derek White, being able to bring in a guy like Derek White, who ends up being one of the best players at times, or is one of the better players in the league now, just right? Jrue Holiday, Porzingis, right? Like how they, so they got it done together. That eases tensions, and then obviously Jalen gets hurt. Oh, I'm sorry, Jason Tatum gets hurt, and then it sucks, but it becomes this natural. Well, who's the better guy? Well, they're being able to, they're still having this great year. Jaylen Brown leading and all that. Look at the type of season he's having. And then, like you said, some of the comments he made, just it didn't. It seemed like he kind of wanted that acknowledgement, or he wanted. I don't. I don't want to sit here and say he wanted Tatum to get traded, or he hopes for that to happen. But like you said, him saying those things at the end of the year kind of point to that. And with all that being said, and then the whole trade stuff, right? So now it's like, well, now you got to get rid of Jalen, right? Because now you're being disrespectful to him, right? It's 2, 3 times that you tried to trade him and just haven't done it. But I will say this, and I called him a weirdo, but Jalen Brown is a weirdo. Jason Tatum is a better basketball player. And I'm not even a big Tatum guy. But Tatum, in my opinion, is a better basketball player. So I don't think the Celtics are wrong for doing what they have done. I think it's just part of the business. It's it is business. It's cutthroat. It's whatever lately. It's you move guys that have done a great job for you lately, but you think you got a better chance to go win a title, and they got knocked out. Uh, so with all that being said, the whole Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum thing. If I'm the Celtics, you didn't get Giannis, so you try to make it work still. But like you said, with all the things that have happened, with his comments and now this, uh, move him. Like Tatum's better. Tatum's better. You don't have Porzingis coming. You don't have Jrue Holiday coming. Like you got to find if you want to be a championship contending team. Yeah, I don't know if they could do it with just those two. Right, the year they won it was Jrue Holiday, Porzingis there. Right, and I just don't.
Yeah.
So if you can move him, I'd move him, man. And because that's to me what it sounds like. Like it's got to the point. I know it hasn't blown up like this yet, but it's got to the point that can they move forward with both? Am I
Yeah.
wrong about? or is it?
I don't think you're wrong. I think. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Jaylen Brown thinks he's better than Jason Tatum?
Yeah, just as a competitor, just as a basketball player, yeah, I think like so in a good way. I think like in that,
Yeah,
me and you, we sucked, but we played enough sports that you
yeah.
have that mentality or that moment, and I think like everyone, so in a good way, yes. And then, like you said, the comments he's made, or some stuff he's just said, I think, y- yeah, I think he thinks he's better. I think he thinks he's better. Maybe if he's logical when he's doing that is what he brings on both sides of the floor, but he can't see that offensively. Like he's just not. He can think that, but he's not better than Tatum is offensively. And I'm not saying he can't be a 1A guy on the playoffs. He obviously showed that he can be the guy on offense. But to win a championship, that Tatum's just better. He still can't dribble that well. You know what I mean? Like
He's gotten better, but yeah, it's still a
got
concern.
better. But think about where it was. Like right before they won a
Yeah,
championship,
yeah.
it was true. Like, and I think people were like, well, people are being too hard on Jaylen Brown. No, this dude couldn't dribble with his left. They're trying to go win a championship.
Draymond was on there talking on his podcast like, "Oh yeah, that was the game plan to send him left."
Yeah. So you're right. His handles have got better, but that's my point. Like Tatum came in the league, and he was able to do these things. I mean, Tatum was dunking on Braun at what, like 19 years old, step backs
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And like I said, I'm not a big Tatum dude, but Tatum's better offensively, and Tatum plays both ways. Shit, I think Tatum. I don't think Jay. I keep getting messed up with the two J's. I gotta stop saying
Yeah,
just
they're both Jays and stuff. Yeah,
yeah. Brown, I don't think he's a good enough rebounder for his size and what he could be. Like I don't have the numbers, but I'm just talking about like there's times where I've watched like I think Tatum plays harder at times. And that's my point. Like Brown to me, he, like you said, these whole comments, this whole stuff, this whole Harvard. It's almost like he started feeling himself too much when it came to all that, and he kind of got, and then he became the man this year, and now you got fans saying, "Oh, he is better than Tatum. Look what he's doing without Tatum," which is not wrong for him to think. Like he's a competitor. This is how he got to the league. This is how he's successful. But I think, yeah, I think the dudes become a distraction. And then you can say, well, look at what the Celtics have done trying to move him and all that. But that's the league. And that shows they see too Tatum is the better basketball player. Tatum is if we're going to keep guys, it's going to be Tatum. Tatum has never been talked about as being as
yeah,
fans, we talk about it. But I'm telling you, as the Celtics, all these years before they won a chip, and now with them, just they won a chip and just didn't make it this year. I'm telling you, they never. Does the question come up? Do they sit there and put pros and cons? Yeah, but they've never seriously thought about moving Tatum over Brown.
yeah. I think part of what's probably grinding Jalen Brown's gears is he thinks he's better, and yet he's the one that gets put in all the trade talks. But then Jason Tatum is not,
Yeah,
and I think as a competitor, he's probably looking over there like, "Would you say f me for? Like what I do? I thought I've just been helping y'all like go deep into the like we saw last week. Like the Celtics have been the winningest organization in the regular season over the past like call it since in this decade, easily, like far and away. And part of that is a huge part of that is Jalen Brown. So no, yeah, I just out of curiosity, I was kind of looking through the rest of the league and just taking a look at like what are potential returns that they could get for Jalen Brown. I think if he leaves the Celtics, I don't know how much they get better. That's the only thing.
hard. Like we're sitting here going, yeah, he should be the guy to move, but Giannis is gone, and well, he's still really good. Like he's still better than.
Yeah,
Well, so I think they're gonna. I think they'll make it work. Like I'm sitting here going, like, it's gone too much and all this, but I think again that organization, like we talk about the Heat, that's kind of like that organization. Brad Stevens, uh, being the head coach of those guys, and now moving into the front office. Missoula seems to have a great, whether they like him or not personally, Missoula seems to have a great, I don't know if control is the right word, but just feel for the team.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think they'll figure it out because I think Jaylen Brown is enough of a competitor too to sit there and go, I want to go win some more chips, or I want to, because it's not like they put him on a max, right? Jaylen Brown is obviously on a max.
Both of them are on maxes. They both make combined 35%. So that's what, yeah, both of them combined about 70% of the team's cap.
Yeah,
So, and that's a big reason why they had to move off of Drew Holiday. They had to move off of Kristaps Porzingis. They couldn't re-sign Al Horford in free agency. So, yeah, fundamentally, that's why they had to decimate their team,
mm,
which sucks. But yeah, I mean, now, I mean, the both of them just have to be better if they're gonna. And obviously, Brad Stevens basically said, "We don't think we're good enough to win a championship at this point."
mhm.
I personally, I think if I guess if we're gonna do real like a real quick segment of blow it up or build it up, I feel like this is kind of what this is kind of turned into. But for me personally, I say I don't care. Bring him back. Do your best to work it out. Because I mean, like he's been in trade talks for Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and Giannis. These
Yeah.
are the best, three of the best players all time. Like
Top of
if he's in talks with them, I mean, what are we really talking about here? You know,
they
like no, yeah, exactly. So yeah, personally, if I'm the Celtics, I say bump all that. We're gonna try to make this work because I feel like the biggest reason, aside from coaching, of course, the biggest reason the Celtics have been the most winningest team in the regular season in this decade is because Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have been good and have been available for the most part over these past several years. So yeah, to me, we try to work it out. So with that, from one trade that everyone saw coming to one that we did not see coming until the night before, and still I'm low key still processing. Lamelo Ball gets traded to the Timberwolves. Him and Josh Green, they get traded for Nas Reed and a couple of picks, one unprotected first round, and then three swaps and 3 second rounds. I'm still trying to figure out where the T Wolves are going. Real quick, they salary dump Julius Randle, and at that point, I was like, I kind of like this move. I think they're going to try to move Nas Reed into the starting lineup, and that probably gives them more pop on offense, and they don't really lose that much on defense. And then all of a sudden, they move off of Nas Reed as well, and they get Lamelo Ball. I guess to start, what was your initial reaction, and how do you see? Because I have some serious concerns, but I want to hear what you think about just initial thoughts and how you think this team is going to look during the regular season.
my initial was what the fuck, and
Yeah,
not even like trying to analyze stuff, but more so like I didn't even know this was possible. Like I know it was possible, but I like if
yeah,
I on 2K, I'd have been like, no, what, like this game is so unrealistic. Like how come it's 2026
right.
realistic? And then sitting there and talk about it, I really like it for the Hornets. I really like it for the Hornets. I give the Hornets a lot of props for making this deal, and I like Lamelo. Like it's kind of went downhill this year because of the whole he hit that he got in that accident, and then he was in the presser. He had no shirt on. He was in the wrong. Really was like this. Yeah, I'm happy. Like there was no accountability for it. There was no nothing like that, and I thought it was the first time that to me he showed a real level of immaturity. And I know that's weird to say because the whole Ball family and how they move and all that, but I think Lamelo's always been this. I think he's been more mature than you would think for a guy coming from his situation. And maybe you got to give props to all his brothers and him growing up in it and playing in the pros overseas. So I like Lamelo. And damn, there's times you watch Lamelo Ball play, you go, this is the most talented guy in the league. Like fuck Giannis, fuck Curry, fuck Braun, fuck Aiden. Like you watch this dude. I mean, he does some things that no one else really does, and then how big he is, and then when he actually plays on the defensive end, Like he has all the attributes to be one of the top 10 defensive guy in the league. But he's not. He has not made that jump to being a winning basketball player. The Hornets have made that jump to becoming a winning organization. Like this was a great year for him. They got the head coach that they need. Steve Clifford is in the front office. And I know you know who Steve Clifford is, but like I think Steve Clifford is really good, right? He's really respected. So they have the right coach, the right front office. Is Jordan is Jordan still an owner?
I think he sold the team.
Okay, right. Like I just had to. He might have a little stake, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably good too. And again, Jordan,
yeah.
he's the best. Yeah. Uh, but and then Con Knipple, like he was terrible in the two play-ins, but that was almost expected. Well, it wasn't expected because how good he was the all year, but he just had that first year in the first couple games in the playoffs. It's tough, but like that guy, that's the dude that changed the organization. Like as from a player standpoint, that's the guy. Brandon Miller's good. Knipple's good. Is Kobe White still under contract? I don't know if you know that off the top of your head.
They just signed him to, I believe, 3 years, 74 million.
Boom. So that you have Kobe White. You have a whole backcourt right there. Uh, and I think Miller. I think Brandon Miller is really good. I think Kobe White has proven. I mean, he's a good basketball player. So right, Lamelo was out for a while. Lamelo came back. He bought in some. He did all that, but then he still puts up 15 threes a game. Played. You know what I mean? He still does. He still had nights where he's 2 13 turnovers. So I give them a lot of props for having this dude that's still very talented. Does part of it, fan favorite, right? He's gonna fill seats, right? Because there's that aspect of it too, and for them to pull the trigger because it was the right thing. You are on the right direction. You can play Kobe, Brandon Miller, Knipple at your 1, 2, 3, however you want, or Miller and Knipple, and then Kobe White comes off the bench, right? Or however they do it. Like you got that, and then you bring in Nas Reed, Miles Bridges. Like Nas Reed and Josh Green are again two of those guys that are going to keep you on that winning trajectory. Just being a winning organization and keep moving forward. So for the Hornets, I think it was really cool. For the Timberwolves, I think they're I guess they're trying to figure out a way to win a championship. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. I mean, everyone is, but my point is, you had Edwards and Cat, and then Gobert. You try to find Gobert, like, and it just hasn't worked. Then it's the swap for Cat and Randall, basically, and then it hasn't worked. But they've been really good, right? They have been this, and I guess try and change their identity in a way. Maybe they feel their identity they have has not it hasn't produced a championship, right? Because they have nights where they're a good offensive team, but they are this big, athletic, tough, I won't even say grinded out team, but just they have size on you, right? Like Ant is like he's a strong dude there, and just I won't say. Well, I guess it is great because Jaden McDaniels, like what he is a defensive guy, so that has been their identity, and it hasn't produced a championship. So I guess now it's let's get to this mode as explosive as of a backcourt as we can possible. Send out Cat. I said send out a Randall, salary dump Randall, move Nas Reed. So there goes a lot of your size. There goes a lot of your toughness. There goes a lot of that aspect. I mean, they still have Gobert, but it seems like it's going more to just being as explosive. I mean, with Lamelo and Ant, you got to run up and down the court, right? Like with Lamelo, you have to run. He's just I don't know if he's ever going to be a great half court guy. It's just not in his DNA. It's and hopefully he can transition to that, but it's just not in his DNA to consistently be that type of guy. So that's the only for the Timberwolves. I don't know. I think the Hornets are the winner. I think the Timberwolves is a little bit too much of a big swing. But then at the same time, I give them credit, man. They're trying to find a way. Like they see that they have Anthony Edwards, who's at least a top 10 player in the league, probably better than that. And they're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together to win. So I think great for Hornets. I think high risk, high reward for the Timberwolves.
I would definitely agree. High risk, high reward. for a team like we kind of saw last week, for a team as good and as talented as they are, they just didn't win as much as you would have thought in the regular season. And part of that, Chris Finch would talk about how they were trying to get the Timberwolves to take the regular season a little more seriously, and then they just wouldn't. And then they'd get into the playoffs, they'd turn it on, and Chris Finch is like, "Oh snap! Like I guess they can just kind of turn it on." But then, of course, inevitably they would flame out. For a team that I think should start taking the regular season more seriously, it's quite a move to bring in Lamelo Ball, who, I mean, can we? How many minutes of serious basketball has he played in his NBA career? Not very many.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's definitely positives and negatives. I think their size and like overwhelming defense is a big reason why the Nuggets have just not been able to get past them
Yeah.
in these past couple of seasons, and they just basically gave all that up. Granted, they still have Gobert, who's going to guard Jokic, and they still have McDaniels, who's going to guard. Well, I mean, I don't know who's going to guard Aaron Gordon if he's healthy in that series, but they have McDaniels, who has traditionally guarded Jamal Murray. Go ahead.
Let me take that. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't want to use the word grit with them, and maybe because at times they're better offensively than those teams that you call gritty, right? They can
Yeah,
still.
I feel like Anthony Edwards, like an Anthony Edwards team, can't necessarily be called gritty because Edge is just too nice. He's too smooth. Like it's
Yeah, you're like
yeah.
but you just talking about it. I was like, you know what? They are gritty because they have some playoff games, and they'll win them and lose them, but it just turns into a dog fight. You know what I mean? And they definitely with everybody, Dallas, Denver, OKC. So yeah, I mean, they literally they said, well, we're gonna lose our grittiness. Uh, and obviously they're still gonna try to be this great defensive team, right? I don't think you can have Jaden McDaniels and Gobert and even Ant. Like, does Ant probably take some plays off on the defensive side? Probably, but very not as much as most stars do, right? Like Edwards is he's a he's a hooper. Like he plays both sides of the floor. I think like you said, Edwards himself is gritty, but he's just so smooth offensively. You don't want to put that characteristic on him.
That's a
It's
good way to
weird.
put it. Yeah.
Yeah, but so and you know, high risk, high reward. But this is probably the best thing for Lamelo. If I look at it, this is
Yeah.
probably the best thing for Lamelo. And if you go into a stable organization, Finch obviously is very respected there. I think he's very respected around the league when people talk about Chris Finch. Obviously respected with Ant and stuff because for all the years they haven't made it, there hasn't really been this just like the Bucks win a championship and then as soon as some things start falling apart, Giannis and Rivers, Giannis gets Adrian Griffin fired. Giannis and what's my man's name? Doc Rivers is going
Yeah.
back at it, right? He doesn't. That's what happens between stars and the coach. It ends up being one or other. That hasn't really happened with Anthony Edwards and Finch, from at least from what I know. So they obviously have a good relationship. So that's a stable organization. They defend. McDaniels, Gobert, who Ant is as a player. So it's probably the best thing for Lamelo if he locks in and takes it like that. And like you said, it's the truth. He hasn't played a lot of serious minutes, but I think he is capable of it. That's why I said, like, I do think he has a maturity level. So I think it's the best thing for Lamelo. But as you were saying, like they take away a lot of that size and grit that have been a strength for them in the playoffs. Like you just said, Jokic, like you were talking about Gordon, all those guys.
Yeah. I think an a real key part here. Let me take you back. I believe this was 2 All-Star games ago. I don't remember who the coach was, but the coach for the first play of the All-Star game draws up a play for Anthony Edwards to throw an alley-oop. And Anthony Edwards in the huddle just goes, "No, no, coach, don't run that. I can't throw lobs."
Yeah,
And
Edwards
then
is cool as shit, man.
he's
Like,
he's a funny guy. He's a
yeah,
cool dude. But also at the same time, after the game, during the press availability, he told the media that. And I think it like really opened my eyes. I was like, wow, anytime I watch the T Wolves, Anthony Edwards is pretty much never throwing lobs to Gobert. And Gobert is a dude who, I mean, that's why him and Donovan Mitchell started having a little bit of beef. Gobert in his French accent talking about throw the lob. Like, and
well, I know where you're going with this. The guy they just got, all he wants to do is throw lobs for
that man's
anyone.
gonna throw a lot of lobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I think this is gonna open up a really nice dynamic of, and also because Gobert he's not the most talented offensive player. Like he plays really hard on defense and he wants to get rewarded by catching lobs. And I can't even blame him for that. Like I'm not gonna say he's wrong. I'm with him on that. And if I had to bet, I haven't looked this up, but if I had to bet over like the last season, it was probably, depending on how much Mike Conley played, it was probably Dante DiVincenzo who threw the most lobs to Gobert. And before that, Mike Conley, whenever he was playing, he was pretty much the only one who was throwing lobs to Gobert. So they're either playing a point guard who's going to get targeted in the playoffs, who's throwing lobs, or it's Dante DiVincenzo, who's not a natural point guard, who can throw lobs, but is not the one that you want handling the ball, playing it play out. Now they have that in LaMelo. And for all, like you were talking about on defense, he has all the tools. Will he put it all together? It's probably going to take a little bit for him. But, I mean, around that culture of, like, really good defensive players, I think that's probably going to be motivation for him to really turn on the defensive end. So I'm looking forward to that. Does this make them – well, here, let me just ask you this. Does this put them in the tier with – and granted, they may have a couple more moves to go, but just this framework of the team, do you think this puts them on the same level
No.
as OKC? And
no, like I don't even know. I don't even know if they got better. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I think it's. They obviously think they have, or they obviously have a plan of how they're gonna make it work. But I think it's really something like we're gonna have to wait and see. Like I don't think anyone could predict the results accurately right now. Like I just think it's. I don't even know what they look like as a team. Um, so you go Lamelo and McDaniels, and then you got to have a four, right? They don't have a four unless.
They might just start Io. They just re-signed Io to a really nice
So
deal.
Jaden McDaniels plays the four.
As of right now, granted, I think I don't remember who this was on. I was watching ESPN and one of them said that the T-Wolves are not done. So maybe their next move is to bring in a four. But as of right now, if I were to set the starting lineup, I'm putting McDaniels at the four and I'm starting Io.
I mean, so yeah, I was, because when you brought up Dante, I was like, well, that's a good guy you can start, like Dante, and as far as defensively. But I'm pretty sure Ayo and Dante are around the same defensively. And
Well,
Ayo.
also no Dante for the next.
He messed up. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so he's not even. Yeah, so you start. I mean, right there. So if you Ayo, Lamelo, and McDaniels, Gobert, right off the bat, you have a lot of athleticism. You have four guys that can handle the ball. McDaniels can handle the ball pretty well. For being the fourth guy on the floor that can handle it, he can do it. I mean, he can even score one-on-one at times. So right off the bat, you have a lot of guys that can handle the ball, get up and down. I guess you can spread out the court. So I guess off the top of my head, is that the first thing? Just almost like the Jazz with Gobert, like just the spacing and high pick and roll and all this
Yeah.
room to work and so okay, right out the bat, that sounds good. Being able to let Ant and Lamelo get downhill with space, get to the free throw line, or finish at the rim, kick out if the help comes. I think that's uh, yeah, I think that makes sense offensively, but I still got to see it happen. Like I still got to see it happen because again, the game just doesn't flow like that, right? Like, what do you look like? What do you look like half court? Because again, outside of lobs, Gobert gives you nothing half court wise. Outside of a screen setter, and then an offensive rebounder. But it's never that easy, right? Like teams since Gobert have found ways to neutralize Gobert, especially in the postseason. Right, that's where guys get played off the court like Gobert. And to his credit, he actually does a pretty good job. Uh, but he gives you no actual, like, he can't even be the short roll guy. He can be in the regular season here and there, but he's not that. I'm not as
That's
high as
actually that's part of the reason why the T Wolves didn't really bring him up to screen for Anthony Edwards in the
yeah,
playoffs
because we're
because
just
he
gonna
comes to
double.
screens like they were already blitzing anyway. So if
Uh-huh.
Gobert is the guy on the short roll, I mean that's cooked.
Yeah, you're 100%. I'm not as high on Io. That's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
Io as other people are. Like I think he's good. I like watching him in college. I actually watched him in college. Uh, but I out of nowhere it was like he's a six man in the league. He's the best six man in the league. He's this and that. And I didn't watch him too much in the regular season, but in the playoffs. And I know he's coming back from injury, I believe. But I didn't see it. I didn't see it like that. Like I said, I think Dante is actually the better basketball player than I really do than Io. Um, so and then defensively, you're small, even though you got the type of guys you need to be, like the type of toughness, like McDaniels is tough as nails. Io, I know for everything I just said about, I didn't think I know he's toughness. Ant is Ant. Lamelo, has light skin toughness. Like and he's tall and he's big or whatever. But yeah, it's like you just flipped. You went from being this tough, gritty team that can explode offensively here and there to, I mean, we're going to score and we're just going to pick up the pace and then defensively just get enough stops. I don't know. High risk, high reward. High risk, high reward. But I do see the spacing offensively now with Gobert being the. But this is the problem. Like, is Gobert even that much of a vertical spacing guy or whatever that concept? He provides vertical spacing or a vertical threat that he used to be. Like, I mean, he's getting older now too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Uh,
I'm not going to take credit for this. I heard on this YouTube show Hoops Tonight the guy was talking about Gobert for as good of a for like the narrative being him being like a good lob catcher. He's only really at his best when he has a clean roll to the
yeah.
rim and is able to just catch it easy. Like he's not out there like who do I want? Maybe like a Derek Lively or like I don't even want to say Wemby because Wemby just different, but he needs like a clean roll and he needs a clean catch. And if he doesn't get that, he's not able to like just catch, land, and then like play off 2 feet and just make a good move and lay it in. Like at that point, it's if you stop the initial lob, he's pretty much cooked. Like if he gets the ball in the paint and he's 1-on-1, his team is like you can see it in their energy. Like, oh, I don't know about this one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I think that's been a big point of contention for the team for the past couple of seasons.
Yeah.
So I think Lamelo getting him cleaner lobs is probably gonna help a lot. And then I mean defensively, you already know what he's gonna provide. So yeah, we're getting up to the hour mark, so I don't want to keep you too long. We were planning on. Go ahead.
Oh well, I was gonna say I know you want to talk about the draft some, but or I could, I want to talk. I want. This will be the last thing we'll talk about. Just like you said, the hour point. But I do want to bring. Is Bones Highland still on contract with the
That
Timberwolves?
is a
Can you
great
look that up?
question. Let me see because I do know Bones Highland would come in off the bench and give them like a nice pop
Well,
defensively.
yeah. Let me see if he's still on contract. I want to make a comment about that.
Google AI is failing me right now. Let me. Okay, so here we go. We got Bones Highland. He just finished a 1 year vet minimum. with the T-Wolves. So he's an unrestricted free agent.
Oh, like because I'm there. There's no way they bring him back. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if Bones Highland and Lamelo were ever on the court together at the same time, that shit would be the most pickup ball looking like thing you ever see in your life. Like that shit would be hilarious. So offensively and defensively. Like defensively, like they'd be getting blown by and wouldn't even like they just start running the other way of the court. They'll just be hanging out at like the 3 point line, just to get the ball pushed up to them. Like that shit would be hilarious. I might even buy a league. Like I don't even know if they'd ever even have them on the court, but that shit would be hilarious, bro. If both sides at the same time.
Oh, you know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
A couple seasons ago, I was watching a lot of League Pass, and the Washington Wizards had Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma
Oh yeah.
on the
Oh
same
yeah.
team. And I would just tune in
Yeah.
because I'm like, yo, I want to see all these light skinned cats just chucking up ridiculous shots. It's
Yeah.
gonna be. I have no rooting interest, and it's gonna be a whole lot of fun to watch, and it's gonna be entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah, no,
So,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, there's I think that's the only thing people talked about the Wizards for. Those clips that would pop up of just them like just couple possessions, like what in the world? Like, yeah.
oh man, well, with that, we'll go ahead and hit the draft next time if necessary. And we gave you all a little sneak peek of blow it up or build it up earlier in this show. So we'll we keep teasing it. We're going to get to it. I promise you. But yeah. Yeah, I don't want to keep you too long, Ollie. I know we got things to do. So everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Dad and Roll podcast. We'll be back real soon. We want to let a couple more of these off season moves be made. Free agency is going to be open very soon. I believe starting like early midway next week. So we're going to have a lot to talk about at that point. So yeah, Ali, hey man, thanks for hopping on, and yeah, thanks for listening to the Dad and Roll podcast.
Yes, sir. See ya.
Peace.